You pay your condolence and you come and pay your condolence here. All the children should have talked. You don't know say you're using now. You don't know say you're using now. I should say you know. See me. You're a labor.
To start with this, I was shocked to learn that he's passed away because there were no indicators that he was a candidate for this season. But we also appreciate that we are not in a position to know whose turn is it, and therefore we won't behave like non-believers. I have known Dokpesi for a long time. Not only because we come from the same place, but because he ventured into an area of journalism, ownership of private TV station, which used to be the monopoly of governments, and later television broadcast station, which again used to be the monopoly of federal and some state governments. And I have been an activist for quite some time. And it is normal for government media not to report what in their judgment does it suit government. And we had to fall back on independent TV stations like AIT to be heard, for the other side of the story to be heard. And so at that time, I personally wondered why he would invest resources on television station, because we didn't see them as profit-making ventures. But for him, life was not just about profit and loss. There are other values that were dear to his heart, namely the right of the Nigerian people to hear what government people want to conceal, and the right for the ordinary man to be entertained. And I think it's not a coincidence that after NTA, AIT is the only television station, to my knowledge, that you can reach from most part of the country, even if you cannot afford DSTV or other cable news. And that was on purpose, to fulfill his dream, to ensure that Nigerians are informed, regardless of their economic status, and that the station become the people's station. He veered into politics. He wasn't too successful because at the time it was not a game of who the people wanted. It was more of a game of survival of the crudest. But yet he never gave up. Personally, he was there for me. In 2012, when I sought re-election, he directed the station to give me live coverage free of charge whenever I was wherever I went to in Edo State. So we have a permanent AIT crew to give not just coverage, but live coverage at no cost at all. And so that is the most you can, even though at the time, everybody knew that Chief Dokpesi was not just a PDP member. He was one of the leading PDP leaders. And he told me people will accuse him of anti-party, but not anti-conscience. For him, conscience is much more potent than obeying your party and disobeying your conscience. And so I am a beneficiary of his large heart. And we can go on and on and on. But one thing that nobody will deny him is his capacity to see through where other people can't see. I mean, who would have believed that private television can flourish in Nigeria, that private radio station can flourish in Nigeria? Those were his initiative. And he fought battles to get the government to recognize that government stations, that private stations need not behave like government stations. In my own case, we've had to fall back on AIT on May Day, for example. NTA will give us live coverage because, like one of their former MD told me, they are not sure what I want to say and they can't use government instruments to help me to reach the people. But AIT will give us live coverage without minding the consequences of doing so. And there are huge consequences, given the fact that government has the monopoly to issue or to withhold license. I think Dokpesi has served a lot of Nigerians, many of whom will never be able to say thank you, because when you want to hear the other story, you tune to AIT. If you want to know the establishment view, you know the station to tune to. And so he has made his mark. What we owe him now, particularly members of the family, is to sustain that vision, which he translated to a reality, that AIT must remain the people's station. And it should be one of those independent stations you can tune to when you want to hear the other side of the story or the facts behind the story. Many will say, obviously, that he died when we obviously needed him most. But we are not, that issue of timing is something that only God has the key. And we can't question him when he chooses to turn it on or turn it off. He can do no wrong. So all we are enjoined to do as believers is to ask God Almighty to forgive him whatever sin he committed as a human and to grant him rest in paradise until we meet to depart no more. May so rest in peace, and may God grant the wives, the children, both the immediate and the extended family, the fortitude to bear this huge, irreparable loss. Thank you very much. You're welcome.